Okay. I can see that wire is going to come past these. It's a little precarious. Let's just make sure when we put this in position that we do not touch, because we do want to keep those separate. Okay, that looks pretty good. Looks like it's going to do the job. Got that hooked up. Let's go ahead and put this pickup back in. Looks good. We can put our pick guard back on. We've separated our wire now. And you can reference the schematic on the screen, which will match what I have here on the bench for the wiring of this whole little operation. Okay, now got that ground wire. We're going to wire that to ground. Let's get this switch off of there. First thing you have to do is take the switch top off, and let's go ahead and unscrew it. Let's just flip her over. All we have to do is disconnect the wires now. Now we're going to be wiring up an entirely new switch, so it's not really important where these wires are hooked up right now, since we'll be replacing them all. Let's go ahead and just dismantle the pickup wires. And then we have this one over here. Okay, that one's hooked up to all that. We don't need all that, so let's just cut that off. There. Now our switch is off. Let's pull out our new switch. Usually the screws will match up on these, but let's just test them. Make sure. Yeah, they fit good. So let's go ahead and use those. They're a little nicer looking screws than the ones that this particular switch came with. Trying to be careful here to keep the pots and all inside the control cavity so I'm not scratching up the top of the guitar. If you laid this all over the top of your guitar, you'd be scratching it up. And when you're doing this sort of thing, if you have a mint top on your guitar and you don't want to get any scratches, I would suggest covering it with something. Okay, now we're set for our new wiring operation here. Okay, we've got the ground wire that we came out of. Top of the pickup, we don't need to deal with that. We've got the white wire and black wire from this pickup. Let's remove that black wire. That's going to become part of our new switching operation. Okay, we've got the white wire from the original lead pickup. That stays the same. And then here's our hot wire. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we need to do here. Our lead pickup is going to end up on the first leg over here. Let's go ahead and put that on. go. Now we've got the white wire from the rhythm pickup here. It's going to be connected to a couple of legs and then right to the power source. So let's go ahead and get those ready. We need just a little bit of extra wire, unless we can, I think we can make this white wire jump both of those. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's trim this back a little bit because there's some solder on it, so you can't really strip it when it has solder on it. We need to just take a little extra. You have to jump 2 legs here. There we go, that's going to stay now. We can go ahead and hit this. Let's just check those, make sure that they really got, oh, it looks like that one didn't quite catch that wire. Let's get that a little better. Okay, I'm just going to touch this up a little bit more too. I think we've got a good connection there now. All right, let's move those back out of the way a little bit. Little jumper wire we have to put on switch here. Let's go ahead and grab a little piece of wire for that. Okay, we can cut off this little excess. That looks good. I'm going to go ahead and take this little excess off too. Now we want the black wire. It looks a little bit old there. Let's just cut a new fresh piece. Trying to work around that wire there. I don't want to touch any of the wires and burn through and cause more trouble later. There we go. As soon as that solder flows, you're ready to go. Okay. Now we've got our wire, a small wire to ground. Jump between a couple terminals here, so let's make it a little bit extra long. That's way more than enough. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay. Little touch of solder. Copper wire really takes to solder nicely. Just give it a second there to settle. This goes to ground. And that should pretty much do it for our switch. We'll give it a quick test, make sure it's working. And then we'll go ahead and put our bypass, our treble bypass together here. And we'll just hold that down for a second. There we go. All right, let's just give a quick test here and see if it's working. Oh, we should probably hook our ground. He'll still work without this, but let's go ahead and hook this up before we forget about it. This is that ground we have for the cover, so that the cover continues to act as a shield, because if we don't hook it back up to ground, it won't. It will actually create more noise. All right, let's just get that to flow a little bit better. Okay, that looks good. All right. Let's just take a quick listen. Turn that up a little bit. Okay, that's our front pickup. Okay, it sounds like we've got them all. That's our lead pickup. Traditional parallel sound. This will be just our rhythm pickup. And then our new series sound. So typical when a person goes to turn their volume down a little bit, they have a certain sense of the tone when it's on full blast. They turn it down just a little bit and all the treble goes away. It's, so they find that they can't turn the guitar down or it sounds like a different guitar. This really helps to alleviate that problem. Now what we're going to do here, we'll start out by just pre-soldering this. This is our 150K resistor with our 0.001 capacitor. And we're putting those together. And once again, we'll have a schematic on the screen to reference the same schematic I have here that I'm using. So we've got those two soldered together. Go ahead and just clip off that excess. Okay. Take the resistor side, and that's going to go to the middle leg, and the capacitor will go to the outside leg. So what I like to do here is just feed them in there like so. Get this where we get our needle nose pliers out. Do a little fancy work here. Okay, that one's there. Let's go ahead and just take care of soldering one of these first, and then we'll come back and get the other one. Let's catch that one first. This little combination allows the treble to bleed back into the system instead of just bleeding out of the system, which is what happens typically. So we will just get this other part hooked up and you're all set. Real simple little thing to do, but boy, I know a lot of the players out there really love this because they like to use their volume control a little bit and not have it make such a dynamic difference in the sound of their guitar. There we go. All right, I think we got that set. Let's get rid of this other little excess on the capacitor there. See that little piece sticking out? Trim that. There you have it. Little wiring modification to a telly that, you know, just your standard telly with the standard pickups. This will really make a big difference. It gives you a nice fat sound on your telly that you don't have today. You don't need any fancy pickups. You can just do it with standard pickups, and a little bypass for that treble, so when you're turning that volume control down, it keeps nice clean highs.